about what we actually want to talk about?
Yes.
Well, what if you could guess? What would it be?
I know.
I mean, just take a wild guess.
Guys, where are we?
The Middle East.
Almost. It's a conflict.
This
that
is a
I
much
feel
more
like,
interesting conflict.
Yeah, it's more complicated. It's far more complicated and it's longer lasting.
Yeah.
What is it? What would you think?
Al, you're an expert on this particular topic. It involves a white woman.
A little Taylor, a little Blake Lively,
Yeah.
a little
There you go.
Baldoni,
Justin Baldoni. Watching this
You're getting
crossover.
me excited now. Come on. Finally, let's start the pod.
It was crazy because you guys were talking about it. I didn't really know anything about it, and I was sort of like, all right, let's see whatever this is. And then I got into it, and
You have the least white wife in this entire group. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, she didn't know what was
My
going
wife
on.
been on it, yo.
Yeah, I explained it to her and everything, and
I've been teaching my wife.
it might be a black thing. I'm
I'm like, babe, you got to sit down right now.
It did bring out the little gay fat boy in me, to be honest. I read all 500 pages of the amended complaint, as well as the important timeline of events that Justin Baldoni released on his website this morning.
Okay.
Oh my God.
So Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds,
Yep.
and
Taylor
kind of
Swift.
Taylor Swift.
Yep.
Yep. Until recently, she seems like she's distancing herself, according to an inside source, which has been released to TMZ this morning.
Yep, she's smart.
Allegedly.
Okay, so where does this begin?
Oh my goodness.
There's a book. It ends with us. My
Yeah.
wife actually read the book before.
Really?
Yeah.
My wife too. No big deal.
Really?
Yeah,
Did
Yeah. Wait, your wife hasn't read Fourth Wing?
Oh, I'm on that now. I'm a white woman, too.
Finally. Okay.
You guys let your wives read?
You read Fourth Wing?
Yeah.
It's good. I'll check it out.
Audiobook, but yeah, I'm on it.
It is so fun.
It's good.
I need to read
Dragons,
at
it's
all
like,
costs.
it's,
Give me any book.
Write books for women because once one is popular, every single woman devours that shit.
Yeah.
Fourth Wing, it ends with us. I think there's another one.
I told you about...
What's that?
A Court of Thorn and Roses was big.
Bro,
That is another-
Outlander? Did I remember I told you about
Oh,
this?
the-
My
the
girl read
TV
all
show?
of Outlander, which is the most insane show. It's about
not a TV show? It is a
It is
TV
a
show.
TV show, but it was a
Now
book
it is.
originally.
Oh, okay.
And it's about a woman that goes back in time so that she can cheat on her husband, like, consensually.
Yeah,
Like, it's literally the whole thing is time travel's real, so she can fuck, like, an old Scotsman and, like, justify cheating. That's the entire book. My wife's like, it's just amazing. It's like history.
I need the time.
I was like, no, it's not history.
I love this concept.
It is kind of fire. Loki, the first season goes so crazy.
Yeah, like Elon, what you doing? Make some fucking time.
If I could double the number of women I've had sex with,
Yeah.
you know how crazy that would be?
And the first season goes so crazy. It starts in World War II, goes back to the Battle of Culloden, where the Scottish try to get independence, and then they also do the American Revolution in the same season.
You said a lot of words.
Yeah.
And it's a
I
whole,
lost it.
it's history plus cheating. It's fire.
Okay.
But anyway, so basically they make this book. You guys,
It ends with us.
You guys read it.
Justin Baldoni, who's an actor, hot guy, but he's like really big into like not.
He's a stud.
Yeah,
He's a
like-
really
He's a piece.
handsome guy.
Yeah, but he's like very like what is masculinity? And I listened to a little podcast he did.
Attractive people, I don't really listen to when they talk.
Yeah,
I just objectify
I gave
them.
this one a chance, and I was actually impressed.
Oh, really? You started listening to
I
him?
started listening. I listened like 10 minutes before I was like, I need to see him.
Yeah, I just need to
lost
jerk
him.
off.
yeah, I gotta break out.
you got
a
an
little bit.
edge, dude.
Yeah. But he's basically like, you know, what is masculinity? And like, I think he's like, I don't like the term toxic masculinity. It's too like political, and masculinity is not toxic. So he's not like a complete cuck. He talks like an actor, which is a little annoying, but he's like, I just think,
I like that angle, though.
yeah, he's like, men,
Yeah.
if you have trauma, you should work through it because most of the time you're with your girl, you could do a lot more damage to her if you don't work through your trauma than she could do to
What
you.
was his trauma? Did he talk about that?
No, I didn't listen
He
to that
does have some trauma.
What's his trauma?
So he says that he was sexually assaulted as a young man. When he was like 20 years
I
old.
get that, though.
by an older, I think she was older, by a woman, and that's how he lost his virginity. And it was not really
20?
Yeah, it wasn't really consensual. She kind of like coerced him into it, and then he felt guilty and has trauma from that. That's a part of
He
it.
was
is
also introduced to porn at a young age. I think he was like 12 when he was introduced to porn. That's everybody.
he ta-
but-
guys,
Guys,
I got a sex spark.
He had a porn
What's
addiction.
happening?
He had a porn addiction as well that he talked about that he recovered from.
This is
How
not,
do you recover from it?
Edging.
But
So you just never come and you're not addicted
fair
anymore.
enough.
Yeah.
Wait, 12 times in a day, is that a problem?
I
No,
think so.
you're a serial killer.
yeah.
12 times.
Yeah.
But that's my record, though.
Yeah.
I was going for it.
Yeah.
That's
But
the most I could do.
But he gets to write this book like 5 years ago. Like he is emailing the author Colleen Hoover, like, "Hey, I'm starting this production company. I would love to make a book about this. I think it's important."
He
Gets
also made
the
another
rights.
movie, 5 Feet Apart. Remember that movie we watched on an airplane?
He made 5 feet apart.
Yeah.
Hold
is
on,
that the
no,
two young-
hold on. We were traveling
To Russia?
to Russia.
Oh,
And there was
balls.
Yes, we're traveling to Russia, and there's
I
this
love
movie.
this guy.
She has cystic fibrosis. Is that it?
Yeah.
So
And Sweet Life is Zach Cody's in it?
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's an actor.
Cole
Sprouse.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cole Sprouse. Yeah,
Yeah.
with the long hair. He's kind of dreamy.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of hot guys. You talk about that show. Hey, the show's going on. We objectify women too. Okay, don't think we're some fucking ribs like you. No, no. But
Bro, speaking of which, David said something
guys,
insane.
this show's become way too lit. Okay, we need to talk about women back. Okay,
Bro, I was hanging with David, and literally Archer was hanging with us, and he leaves, and then David goes, "Bro, I swear to God, if I was a girl, I'd let Archer hit."
it's like, yo, David.
I was like, "Bro, what?"
David, facts. Arch, you can get it. You're the Baldoni of the studio, Arch.
Bro, I said
It
this-
used to be Mark, but he fell off.
I had a kid, bro.
Nah,
I
he
can't
fell
wait.
off. He fell off. Now Arch got that little hockey haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
He's
see you,
looking
Arch,
good.
not wearing socks.
Bro, wait, what? Why
I
are you
don't
listening to speak?
I didn't
I didn't know
look
you
at his
speak.
ankles ever. What are you talking about? I never looked at his ankles.
that's weird.
Yeah, whatever. Arch.
Call HR
Whatever,
for that
Arch.
one.
Yeah,
That's
my
crazy.
bad. My bad.
So Baldoni gets the rights to this movie, all right?
Yeah.
And they start working
No,
on
we
it.
didn't talk about the cystic fibrosis.
I'm drunk. Keep going.
We're watching this movie and we're just watching whatever's on the screen. I look over and Al's watching this movie and he turns to me and he goes, "Yo, I ain't gonna lie. This movie is fire. Put this on." I go, "All right." I put it on. It's just like rom-com with people who can't be around each other, but you fall in love.
There's no
whatever.
calm, really.
It's not even calm. It's just like a dramatic
just good.
romantic.
It's like
yeah.
The Fault in Our Stars, which I've read. Type
Exactly. Okay. Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
Fantastic.
About like an hour in, I look over. And Al is taking the blanket and he is blowing his nose
Disgusting.
because he is snot crying on the plane. He blows his nose, he looks at me, he goes, "Yo, this shit is crazy, bro. This shit is crazy right here, yo. This shit is crazy."
And you know what's coming. That's the crazy
I
part.
know, yeah, there's only 2 movies that made me cry on a plane like that.
Blue Bayou.
Blue Bayou,
That shit
which
was
I didn't watch on my own screen. I watched
Is
on
that the Bonnie Blue movie?
No, stop it. Don't you dare.
No, the director.
Shout out Justin Chong. Justin Chong.
Okay.
And I watched that on the screen next to me, and me and the guy next to me cried. I didn't have any words. Me and the guy next to me were crying together. And it started like he was annoyed I was watching, and by then he was like, "No, this shit hit right."
Dude, the end is unbelievable.
Oh, it's
it gets
incredible.
you so badly. Oh
Shout
my
out
God.
Justin. Shout out Justin. And what's it called? Strong Side.
Left side, strong side. Remember the Titans.
Oh, remember the Titans.
Also, Coco.
Coco is that's.
Oh, Coco was a
Yeah, I
banger,
cry on
dog.
land. I cry on
Okay.
anything.
You
We
should
yeah.
watch on a plane.
What's that?
Lion.
Lion.
What's Lion?
Is this some Jewish shit?
Lion, it's a Dev Patel movie. It didn't make me cry though.
Watch on a plane.
Why is the mic so low?
I know.
You're
Yeah,
talking like you're
lift
Freddie
it up.
Mercury.
Bring the
What
mic
fuck?
up.
Lion.
Yeah, Lion.
He's doing Live Aid. What the
Lion is fire. It's based on a true story. Indian kid.
Ain't nobody care.
That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point.
And then 5 Feet Apart is the other one you cried at.
And then,
Yeah.
but okay, back to this.
On the way to Russia, they didn't let us into the country for being gay, and we had to go home.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
That was, remember when they asked us about that?
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh, you have a black friend who's very gay. You don't want to." He was crying on the movie that we put in the play. How did you get around that, Al?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember this.
Yeah. You don't remember a lot of our travels.
No.
It's so weird.
It's all blurry, you know?
Yeah, it is all blur.
So he makes,
Such a crazy blur.
he makes that movie, all right? And he shows that to Colleen Hoover, and she's like, "You're amazing. You're perfect for my book." And they go ahead, get into pre-production for the movie. They get Sony to be the partner to actually make the movie come together. And then it's produced and directed by Justin Baldoni and his company, Wayfarer Studios. Coincidentally, it also is starring Justin Baldoni.
Fire. Does he
And-
play the abuser?
Yes. And so the book, could you explain like what you know about the book?
This girl meets this guy in high school. She's from an abusive household, like wildly, violently abusive. This guy is like homeless, and then they form a friendship that turns into something more. They drift apart, college, whatever. They move, I guess, and then she falls in love with this guy who's like
A nice
kind
guy.
of. He seems nice, but
He's
he's
a
also
neurosurgeon.
like neurosurgeon, handsome, does all these things that are like kind of possessive, but she doesn't really catch the red flags early or whatever. They get married, have a kid. He becomes more abusive. He sexually assaults her at one point.
That's Baldoni.
Yeah, and they have a baby. And then
Character.
at the end, the decision she makes, you should know this, I'm not spoiling anything, is she leaves him. It ends with us. A cycle of abuse and violence that I grew up with is
I'm not gonna let
end
my
with us.
kids see this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fairly dark movie.
Yeah, that seems pretty dark.
There's romance, but it's pretty dark.
Yeah.
and so that's important to note.
We're supposed to believe that she left Baldoni. Is that what we're supposed
It's
to
funny.
believe?
My wife was showing me TikToks after of a bunch
Ain't
of
no
girls
way.
being like, a bunch of girls left the movie being like, leaving the movie knowing I'd take him back.
I take it back 100% of the time. Beat once a month. You get to walk around with him every day.
Neurosurgeon.
Neurosurgeon.
Oh yeah, that's
He fixed it.
So that's what the book's about, which is important to
Yeah.
note because it comes up later with all the backlash that Lively gets. So basically, Baldoni, Wayfair, and Sony approach Lively. They get her cast as the main character, as Lily. So
Which immediately, my understanding, even my wife was like, she's like a fan of Gossip Girl and all that. She's like, I don't love this casting. She's a bit too old to play this girl in high school and like, or whatever. Just like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work to
But
me. And
everybody feels that way.
I
about
guess
it.
so. I guess a lot of fans are
I remember when
generally
Tom
like,
Hanks was cast
Da Vinci
as
Code.
Da Vinci Code. I was tight.
but that haircut ruined that whole movie.
No, it wasn't a haircut. It was like when I was watching it, I just imagined him being so handsome.
Yeah.
I imagine Richard Gere.
Yeah.
I read all those books. I read Angels and Demons. I read every one of those Dan
What a
Brown books.
gang.
you're coming in hot.
Yeah.
Can I tell
I
you
mean, like
something?
flaming hot.
Did you imagine Tom Hanks?
No, but I wasn't mad because he wasn't handsome enough.
I was furious.
And then when he got cast, I was like, that's fire. But then that stupid haircut
Yeah, the
ruined
haircut
it.
was crazy. The haircut was crazy. Anyway,
All right, anyway.
but Tom
go.
Hanks in a tweed jacket, like I don't, but Richard Gere on the other hand, do you know what I mean? The guy was piping Crawford.
Miles in the corner.
Miles
you
knew
got
it.
excited.
Miles, who'd you want him to be?
Christian Bale or something like.
Yeah, like a hot guy.
He was popping back then. He American Psycho, but that's it. Anyway, go ahead.
He had a body in American Psycho though.
basically,
He had a body.
My man.
they start.
Another one, like you let him kill you. You know what I mean? Like another one. You know what I'm saying? It's what it is. Come on.
Murder me.
This is why female serial killers, it could be the easiest job in the world. Right? Like, remember when that girl, what was her name? She killed
Eileen
like four.
Wuornos.
She killed like 4. And it was like, all right. Like, we're supposed to be impressed by that.
numbers. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, go.
So basically, they do the movie, they start getting into pre-production. Okay. Again, everything I'm about to say also is allegedly. There's lawsuits flying everywhere.
Yep.
I don't want to get embroiled in
It's all
this.
allegedly.
And I'm also.
Hey, embroil us, Mark.
I'm trying to also be unbiased, okay? Because if the allegations are true and Blake Lively was sexually harassed, that's bad.
Yeah.
But if Baldoni's whole career is getting skewered,
It could be worse, but it's bad. This guy. It
By
could be
Baldoni?
worse.
It's bad.
No. It could be worse, but
what?
it's bad. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Could be worse.
Like I could be sexually harassing her? That's worse.
That's worse.
yeah, and
That's
more likely,
way worse.
And yeah,
Just
yeah.
those eyes.
stereotypically slightly more
Why you
likely.
got ahead? Why you got ahead?
It is crazy.
The last thing you see is these big, beautiful eyes.
Give me vagina and Bob. Give me vagina and Bob.
So,
Yo, give us some good sexual harassment you learned back home.
It's like that cat from Alice in Wonderland. You just in high
All right, go.
So this is going into pre-production, all right?
yeah.
And they're going back and forth. They have the script basically done, and then slowly it seems like there's things that are coming up that are potentially red flags. Now, there's also a piece of this that I think is very important. Blake Lively, prior to doing the movie, like months before, just had her 4th child.
Wow.
So
Beautiful.
she just delivered a baby, and she's now raising a newborn while on the set, but also is recovering from 9 months of pregnancy.
Yeah.
Which I think is a big part of this that I think some people leave out. So they start getting into pre-production, and then slowly she starts to kind of like not be super easy to work with. It seems like, according to the text that Baldoni's released. So she hasn't read the book, and
That's a
doesn't.
problem.
And initially, and I don't know if she reads it later, but according to the text, into pre-production, she hasn't read the book. She wants to just be living in the script and be married to the character in the
Yeah,
script.
Actually, I like that.
Can I be
That's
honest
an
with you?
excuse to be lazy, yo.
That's what I say to every movie when I don't want to read the whole script.
Yeah.
I go, I just don't want to know what happens next because my character wouldn't know. I swear that's the excuse I use every single
That's a
time.
great
I'm
excuse.
just too lazy to read it, and I'm not. I usually read it after, and I'm like, oh, that happened. Like I didn't even know I was gay in that TV show on Hulu. I showed up to the day, and I had my hands on the wall, and I was like, what the fuck is this about? I'm just as surprised as you.
You weren't annoyed when they were like, "You're perfect for the role." Like you are.
Well, after the fact, I was like, what you mean perfect?
No.
Will you listen to this podcast or something? Go ahead.
So, and then there's another thing that happens early on that's a little bit of a red flag. Baldoni's really, really strict on getting an intimacy coordinator.
He wants an intimacy coordinator.
He wants an intimacy coordinator. This is someone that comes into the production that is able to supervise all the sex
to make
scenes
sure nobody feels uncomfortable.
and also to coordinate the sex scenes so that they play more realistically and that they sort of can tap into the audience that they're trying to reach.
Realistic and still safe. That's your whole job.
Got it.
Yeah. So,
But if that was one of your mans, you could hire him and be like, yo,
Watch me work.
right? Like how do we know that person's a professional and that it's not like Joey, Tuba from New Jersey who's like, yo, make this shit intimate. Do we have a track record
So
on
he
this?
says to Blake in text, you can meet, there's an interview coordinator would love for you to meet her and get your sign up before we move forward.
Got it.
She says, no, I'm good. We don't need to meet with this person.
now she says specifically, I'll meet with them once we start filming, but she declines it in pre-production.
Got it.
And so some people look at this and say,
Again,
oh,
that's lazy.
She declined she's also working on other stuff. People say,
Bitch, the
oh,
mom, she got 4 kids. She just had a kid. Like, she don't have time to meet up with this intimacy coordinator. Also, she's not assuming anything crazy is going to happen.
so people are saying she's denying the intimacy
She's a
coordinator.
white woman. She's always assuming something crazy. Constantly searching for something crazy.
And you're the lead of this.
Fucking
Like, you got to
oxygen
be
for these
all
people.
in.
Yeah.
And then other people say, no, she didn't decline the intimacy coordinator. She just postponed it for the scenes that required, like, full-on intimacy,
Yep.
birth, etc.
Yep.
So that's like the big note that everyone's pointing at. She declines it. And then slowly addendums and changes to the script start to happen. So April 9th, 2023, she starts having notes on the rooftop scene. This is like an infamous scene where the two of them meet for the first time. And she wants to kind of like change the script a little bit. She wants to like revise it. She does her version of the scene. It kind of changes up a bunch of stuff, sends it to Baldoni and says, hey, I've revised it. Before she sends it, she also makes a statement where she goes, a lot of times on these movies, I will rewrite whole scenes. I will add stuff to the movie that gets added in and I never get any credit. And sometimes I add stuff and people don't even want to hear it. Like, I'm intimately involved in the production and no one gives me the time of day. And that's really frustrating as like an actor and all the stuff that I've done this far in Hollywood.
You maybe didn't mention she's also a producer
Yeah.
and he's
I
a
think that's
director.
later.
No, I think from the beginning she's a producer.
Yeah, I imagine
Yeah.
if someone of her size that's stepping into a role in more independent film, like
So it's not just an actress wanting to change a scene; it's also someone with power. Over.
Now, Dove, what are the rules in Hollywood about that? Is there like producer in name only, or is there?
No, I mean, if you're a producer, you have the rights to communicate with. She's powerful enough that she can speak up.
I mean, we got some producers on my special did have no right to do anything.
But that's,
Right? We just kind of put them in there.
but you're a little different than Baldoni, turns out.
Hopefully, hopefully in the right way.
No, but Baldoni's very accommodating.
I'm confirming. And there can be a million EPs, but as a producer, the ones that would actually win an Academy Award if it got to that point, I think you have 4, 5, maybe. She's a proper producer on this one.
Okay, good.
So he's like, yeah, you can send me over your.
By the way,
your
when I
change
was
to it.
talking about producers on the special, I'm just talking about Scooter Braun. Okay,
That's the only one I'm talking about.
everybody else did a lot of work for it, and thank you very much. Scooter, that's for you. Okay, I didn't go to the Nova exhibit, so Scooter, you get to be a producer on the special.
All's fair. Fair trade.
Yeah, my bad on that one.
But she makes changes and then sends it over to him, and then he basically responds this. And I also think it's worth noting that it seems like Baldoni is potentially on the spectrum a little. That he says stuff and does things that are so well intentioned, but that come off weird.
Okay.
And so he basically says, hey, I really appreciate your passion on this. This is awesome. I think realistically, the final version of this will probably be like a blend between like the original version and your version.
That
That's
strikes you
spectrum
as
to
someone
you?
on the
Do
spectrum.
you think that Al would work at anything like that?
So the way that
I put it in ChatGPT. Yeah.
Yeah.
that doesn't seem like spectrum at all. That seems like high emotional intelligence.
the way she interprets it.
How
and-
do you pronounce the other AI?
Yo,
engine?
shut the fuck up.
How do you pronounce
Mark's
the other
talking
AI?
right now.
A white man is talking. Starts with a P. Al. Thank you.
I needed that.
go.
But so she
What did he call it?
I don't know. I just want to hear him say
No,
it.
just go.
What's the other chat GBT for like history and stuff?
I don't even know. If,
Perplexity?
I don't know this one. I swear I don't know this one.
Go ahead. My bad.
So
I use the one you could say.
she interprets it as him going, Blake, hey, we're not going to use this, but I love your passion. I love that you're so like into this, but we're not going to really use this. That's the way she interprets it.
Got it.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, I didn't know that.
So she's pissed off.
See, I didn't sense that.
Yeah, they do that, right? They do that, right? Don't they do that?
like,
Yes.
he said one thing and she heard something.
She heard a
completely
totally
else.
different
Managed
thing.
to find a way to make it negative.
Yeah.
Asshole-ish.
Yeah, even when you have your best intentions and you try to accommodate their feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. What about that says spectrum to you, honestly?
Well, there's a couple other things that come up a little bit later that are like,
Did he know the exact train times for arrivals?
after that, she invites Baldoni to meet at her apartment in New York City.
She invites. Okay, yeah,
And they're meeting at her apartment all the time to like work on the script and to hash out scenes and do like regular production stuff.
got it.
So when
Let's stop there. How would y'all feel if your wives...
I ain't going.
That's what I'm saying.
What do you mean you ain't going? You were not invited. Your wife's
If
getting
I'm-
piped out by Jason Baldoni. Of course you're not there.
Yeah, I'm not there.
I'm not going to be. I'm putting my foot down. You're going to go alone to this handsome
you're
guy's
not the
house.
star of the movie.
What was going on?
If I'm Baldoni, I'm not going. If I'm Baldoni, I'm not even
no, I'm
going.
asking about like if your wives was
How
the
would
star of
you
the
feel
movie
if your
and
wife-
she's
No fucking
inviting
chance you're having him
Baldoni
over.
over.
You're not even doing the movie. What are you talking about?
Thank you.
You're not even
Thank
doing
you.
the
no.
movie.
You're a housewife.
No.
Wait,
Be in
what?
a movie with an
Oh,
ugly
okay.
guy.
Okay, fair enough.
Ugly guys, by all means.
There we go. Jonah Hill, come over. Workshop some
Wait,
lines.
he's skinny now.
Yeah, now I feel bad. Now you
Yeah,
made me feel
he
bad.
should.
I thought we could all get on board on that.
Yeah. He's like, duh.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good. He's skinny now. I said you're skinny now.
yeah,
He was saying.
Now you're going
See?
too far. Now you're going too far. You can't take the compliment of being skinny if you were never fat. Never. You're just normal.
It was normal.
But
No,
you know,
you
like
did
when
gain
like
weight.
fat people get
You
skinny,
gain weight.
you kind of got
wear
like
well.
you got like post fat body.
Bro, when we were in Turkey, he couldn't buckle the life vest. He put on the life vest and it wouldn't buckle. He said, yo, can you loosen it from the back? Like, he said, quiet, say, yo, can you loosen it from the back? I was like, no, you're going to drown with your fat ass. That's what's going to happen.
Why do you need
Just
a
float.
life vest? Yeah, you float. That's fine. That's not a problem. So basically, Baldoni shows up to the residence of Blake Lively, and greeted at the door is Ryan Reynolds. He's very excited to see him. He's like, dude, we're so excited to work on this movie. Blake's been super obsessed with the script. This is going to be great. They sit down and they go through the script. And then at that same meeting, all of a sudden, a quote, mega celebrity walks in and is also talking about the rooftop scene that Blake had adjusted. And she's like, oh my goodness, we love Blake's version of the rooftop scene. Everyone loves the way Blake did the rooftop scene.
Oh, so putting a little pressure on Baldoni.
Seemingly, yeah.
Now, this mega superstar is not strictly named. I have noticed that in the timeline of events from Baldoni's website, there is actually an uncensored version. I don't know if it's on purpose or on accident, where they do say Taylor, which we can presume is Taylor Swift, who is the godparent to Blake Lively's children.
Son, we got to send Mark's wife away more often. The amount of detail that he is breaking this down is absolutely sensational.
If anyone can diagnose autism, it's me. All right? I mean,
He
the
did
way.
a lot of reading while he was edging.
That's what I was edging to. Bro. Come on, you pop a couple zins, you're locked in. And so basically, there's a little bit of pressure being applied to Baldoni. It seems like everyone loves everyone loves Blake's version of it. And this is actually important to note because later Blake will admit that it was actually not her that rewrote the rooftop scene, that it was Ryan Reynolds that rewrote the rooftop scene.
Oof.
To which Sony and the screenwriters are like, well, we have to give Reynolds a credit on this. We're violating our SAG union obligations. This is like a huge nightmare. You can't say that.
Yeah.
But she goes on and says it anyway. But regardless, in the moment she says, I rewrote it. He leaves and is basically like, okay, this is kind of wild. That was on the 12th, all right? And then
1 second. Isn't that so manipulative? She goes to the guys like, oh, no one ever takes me seriously when I, offer suggestions. You're using that by saying I rewrote this scene. Meanwhile, it's your husband who rewrote the scene.
Ooh.
That's fucked up.
Great point.
So now she's playing into his identity of I support women, I believe women, and we need to be better.
And
not
you're playing victim with no one ever takes me seriously. I work so hard. I'm such a creative person. You didn't even do nothing. You didn't read the book. You didn't rewrite the scene. What the fuck did you do?
It's a good tactic, though. Like, you know that this guy doesn't want to tell a woman that's the producer of the movie and the lead that she can't have a say in it because it goes against his identity publicly. So you
And
can
maybe
manipulate
privately.
him based on that. It's a good idea.
I mean, it's not a nice thing to do.
No, I'm not saying it's nice, but I can understand why she would go that way with it.
Got you. Okay.
Right? Because it'd be way harder if she was like, I'm the producer and this is what I'm going to put. He'd be like, no, I don't really want to do that. But if she goes, I'm a woman and I've been in this business forever and nobody ever takes me seriously and yada, yada, yada. Now he has to be like, well, fuck.
Yeah.
I got to say no kindly. I got to say it's going to be a blend.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it is at this point that he basically says something to the effect of like, hey, I loved your revision, even without the cosign of Taylor and Ryan. Like, you didn't even need to really bring them in. Like, your work stands on its own, and I thought it was great. And then she, I believe at this point is when she sends the Khaleesi text that has now become famous, where she basically says, if you ever get around to watching Game of Thrones, you'll appreciate that I'm Khaleesi. And like her, I happen to have a few dragons, for better or for worse, but usually for better, because my dragons also protect those that I fight for. So really, we all benefit from those gorgeous monsters of mine. You will too, I can promise you.
And I think she's talking about Taylor and Ryan Reynolds as her dragons.
Now, the irony in this is that Khaleesi was pretty famous for like fucking the closest guy to her throughout the Game of Thrones. So I don't know if you really want to say.
And dies at the end.
Yeah.
She loses
Horrible metaphor, but
yeah.
Okay.
And then I believe it's also around this point that he leaves her a voice note after she's sort of like expressing like, yeah, I didn't really like the way you responded to my original sort of addendum to the script. You kind of brushed me off. Baldoni feels bad about it. They have this whole intervention kind of with like Taylor and everyone. And this is when I believe he leaves this voice note that has now become released to the public.
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
This is a whole 7-minute thing. And just to give you a vibe, people also point to this to indicate how creepy Baldoni is and that he's sort of like manipulating her, da-da-da-da.
No, the first few, just do the first few seconds.
It is 2 a.m.
Pause.
Yo, take that
Pause.
sexy voice
Pause.
off, bro.
Guilty.
Yep.
Don't start no fucking voice note to my wife with it's 2 a.m. I'm
And then
thinking about you.
the
My
deep
voice
D
is sore.
Stop.
Nah,
Stop.
that's crazy.
Wake you up.
Pause. Again, why are you breathing loud?
He just
and
finished
moaning
edging right
into
now,
the
son.
goddamn voice note. Just get the information
Yep.
out. All right? Ryan beating off to this voice
There's so
memo.
much I want to say to you, and I hope that we can FaceTime or see each other in person soon and get to talk more. But I'm just gonna send you a few thoughts, and hopefully it's not gonna be more than a few minutes. But that I don't have the best track record. I don't think either one of us have
I'm
the
not a
best.
minute man. I'm not a minute man. This guy's flirting, bro. This guy.
I didn't even pick up on that one.
Yeah, he's got girl brain, bro. He gets it. Al understands.
Son.
Voice memos. I want to start with an apology. Man, reading the second part of your message, my heart sank. I'm really sorry. I
This guy.
for sure fell short, and you worked really hard on that, and the way you framed it, and how that made you feel. I just want to say thank you for sharing that with me. That
He goes on to say, like, hey, I'm not a perfect person. I'm going to do better going forward. And I'm so sorry for the pain it caused you. And I'm really excited to collaborate on this project further.
Way sexier though. Way sexier.
Yeah, slightly sexier than I did.
Son,
but
don't leave my wife a voice note sounding like that, bro.
If I'm his wife, I'm tight. Like, why are you sending other bitches voice messages at 2 a.m?
Yeah, have we spoken to his wife yet?
I don't know.
She came out and supported
600
him.
million on the
She's
line.
come out in
Probably not
support
gonna
of
say
him.
nothing.
Yeah,
But she hasn't really been vocal in the whole saga. But she has obviously come out in support of him.
She's a keeper.
So
Yeah, true.
that's kind of where things are at right now.
So he records this voice note. When does he start recording all the text and everything like that? Because that's a little bit fishy to me.
That he's actually
The first person that decides to record everything.
So I think it comes up later that they're actually taking like metadata recordings where they're like downloading all the like PDFs and everything. But I think they have all the text correspondence from their entire
According to Candace
collaboration.
Owens, at some point early in the filming, when Blake Lively starts kicking up a fuss,
Yeah.
that someone on Justin Baldoni's PR team, there's also like a PR thing that happens where like his original PR lady is like a
Are
real.
we going to get into that too?
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
that's like all crazy.
But they at some point they say, hey, this movie's filming in New Jersey. Y'all are all in New Jersey. You don't need her consent to record anything. Just record all of it. Keep track records of everything. They didn't go to New Jersey to do it or whatever. The movie's filming there. So it's
But
like,
because they were there, they could do it.
do
Got it.
this.
But-
Just be safe.
Got it. Okay, so something happened, and I want to know what that point was where he felt that Blake and maybe Ryan did not have his best interest at heart, and he's like, I need to start collecting information that is potentially protective for me and incriminating to them.
You know, and I think it was probably the day after this. I think he sends that voice note. I think he's probably talking to.
Didn't they
the
try to
director
buy the
or-
script from
Yeah,
him? Or
I think that's coming
what I
later. That's
thought.
coming
Oh,
later.
that's later. Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, the voice note comes out, and again, we're fast forwarding, but like people are using this. This basically acts as like a mirage or like an optical illusion. Like if you think that this guy is a creep and a sexual harasser,
Then
and you
that's
hear
what
this,
you
and you're
see.
like, obviously, if you assume he's just like a good, well-intentioned, like
Then that's
male
what you see.
feminist type dude, and you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, he's being so nice. Everything he's saying is good.
Yeah.
But the way he's saying it,
Yeah, the voice is creepy, but the words are the right ones.
and everything he says, he's like, dude, I completely understand.
Creepy. More like dreamy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, and the
Even what
difference-
he's saying, I don't believe it.
Don't yuck
Just
my yum.
because I've heard the rhetoric so much from people that I think are full of shit.
That
So
was
I'm
my
just
initial
like,
issue with him. From what I've heard, he seems more sincere, but he does talk like that, which is like I think an actor way of talking. where
There's
they're
an
like,
LA thing throughout all the texts. If you read all the correspondence, the way that all of them talk to each other is sort of insufferable.
Yeah.
actors are insufferable people, and they think all their words carry such a weight, and they talk as if
Bro, this
everything
is-
is a Shakespearean monologue.
I would give the earth to work with you again, and the moon and the stars. Like we're destined to
There's
make this
no
project.
disagreements, by the way. Like when you're just like sitting on set, everybody's just talking about the thing, complaining about the same thing, and agreeing, and then moving on.
All being fake nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is the
that
most
sounds
boring. Oh,
horrible.
it's awful. It is. It's like the antithesis of a podcast where we just sit here and disagree with each other. Yeah. Yeah.
But the difference is that we actually like each other, and then we argue in front of people. Whereas
Speak for
these people don't really like each other, and they're
And
all
then-
so nice.
Nice with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
So
Okay.
the next phase that happens like escalates things crazy. So that happened on April 14th, 2023. April 22nd, like a week later, Baldoni goes in the movie, in the script, in the original script, there's a scene where his character lifts up her character, like picks her up. And Baldoni has a bad back. He's had many back surgeries. He has like a bulging disc in his back.
he got that Luigi.
Yeah, he's just been blown out back, or he's got his back blown out, and it's like a whole thing, right? So he goes to the
Got
personal
his
trainer.
back blown out?
I don't
What
know.
did you mean by that?
I don't know if actually he's got his back blown out.
Because you've been saying the facts for the last like 20 minutes perfectly, and then you just said something like that about Baldoni.
What do you mean?
So what did you mean when you said that?
No, I meant he was blowing out backs,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You
I
get
mean,
a bad
likely.
back from putting too much work in.
Put too much
yeah,
work
you
in.
put too
Yeah,
much work.
which is that's a red flag.
Never
That
been
is
in
true.
the
Yeah, man. You have such a good back.
Yeah,
one of the strongest
The
backs.
only good part of it.
Okay. All right.
And basically, he goes to the personal trainer and says something to the effect of, "Hey, I want to avoid injury. So, how much would you estimate Blake Lively weighs? Ballpark. Just as a fruit, as a collection of fruits. If you had to guess, it's like 10 watermelons. Like, what are we talking, right? He goes to the guy and says, how much does she weigh? And it's not really stated what the personal trainer responds with, but basically, this comment gets back to Blake Lively. And she's pissed and offended and thinks that it's completely inappropriate to be asking about the actress's weight as like the director or as an actor, which again, he's playing both. So
If you
there's-
got to ask, you can't lift her. Right?
He doesn't want to be embarrassed. What if she,
No, I'm just saying, like, if you have to ask, it's because you're concerned.
Yeah.
And if then you got to change it, you got to rewrite it.
Yeah. So that becomes a problem, okay? And that happens on April 22nd.
Yeah.
Now,
How much do you think she weighed? Because she's not small, right? Like she was a model at one point.
Tall lady.
she looked tall. How tall is she?
I don't know how tall she is. No,
5'9", 5'10", probably.
So she's probably around like a buck
She's
50.
as tall as Al pretends to be, probably.
Yeah. So she's what? Like a buck 50. So he's got to deadlift a buck 50 with a
Yeah.
bad back.
Damn.
What? Is that
How you put 150 on her?
is that a lot?
She's 5'10".
Yeah, I feel like that's a good amount of shit.
Yeah, but they don't eat. She's probably like 120.
No chance she's 5'10",
120 at 5'10.
dying.
crazy.
No? Oh, I don't know, bitches. Weight.
So again, this is like some spectrum thing where it's like, okay, you're asking, you want to do the right thing, you have a bad back, you want to make sure you can do the scene properly, and also you don't want to make her feel bad if he goes to lift her and then his back is fucked up and he's like, oh, it's not you, it's me.
He's really treating her as an equal, and she's like, treat me as a woman. You know what I mean? Like, treat me as a
Yeah,
woman in
that's fun.
Hollywood.
That's
It's-
funny.
Fair
Don't treat
assessment.
me as an actor. Treat me as a woman who is concerned about my weight because I just had a baby. I put on some weight. I'm working out every single day. Now you're going to my trainer like, yo, she got the weight down yet? Because I got to lift this fucking chick. And you're concerned.
Yeah.
I think you got to just lift her or put her on an apple box. What do they do with Tom Holland? Whatever they do with Tom Holland, just do that with.
Back brace or something.
Yeah.
There's got to be a way.
What do they do to make the cameras not move?
Gimbal.
Gimbal.
Oh, gimbal.
What if you did that? What if you just attached
A harness? Like Wicked. Yeah, you could do like Wicked and make her fly, defy gravity. There's got to be a way.
Exactly. Yeah.
So apparently, I think they ended up working and rehearsing with like a body double like,
Okay.
while they're like trying to get the scene worked out. And then 3 days later, according again, this is to Baldoni's sort of online testimony of like evidence he's putting out, that he's summoned to Lively's penthouse in New York, where he's greeted by Reynolds, who swore at Baldoni, accused him of fat shaming. Quote, "How dare you fucking ask about my wife's weight? What is wrong with you?" The tone from Reynolds and Lively was so aggressive that Baldoni felt he had no choice but again to offer repeated apologies and for what was a good faith, reasonable question to the trainer, not Lively, and demanded that Reynolds demanded that they remove the lift scene completely. Now, later, Lively claims that the lift scene was never in the movie. It's not in the movie currently.
I'm pretty sure it's in the book, so it'd be in the movie.
But they said that it was never even in the script. There is versions of the script that have it in there. They say it was removed in the edit. Again, yada, yada, yada. So that is, I think, where things really kind of start to turn. Okay?
And I think that is when they started recording everything.
Yeah.
After this argument.
Yeah. Now he's concerned that they could paint him in a certain way. You could use sexism against him.
And that is his brand.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm a male feminist. I love women.
Yeah.
And then I'm fat shaming women on myself.
And Ryan Reynolds much more powerful than me. Taylor Swift much more powerful than me.
Yeah.
And her whole thing is taking down men.
All
her
she has to
entire
tweet
career.
out is, yo, this director was super creepy. He was like,
Let him
ask
know
me
how
how
you
much
feel.
I weighed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, it's worth noting that that at this point, Lively had already expressed concern over her body. She's already told him, like, hey, I want to be like in shape. I really treat this
That's
take
how I
it
know this
seriously.
bitch got fat.
She
had a baby.
She had a baby on
As she should. She shouldn't be skinny after having a baby.
Exactly, yes.
But if I'm a lifter, I need to know what she weighs.
But she's already expressed, hey, I feel sort of insecure with my figure. And he assures her over and over, don't worry, we're going to make you look amazing. Don't even worry about this. This should be the last thing in your mind. You're a great mom. Don't even worry
I
about it.
think he says shit like your body's beautiful or something like that.
And
Right?
he says, like, yeah, you're great. Like, don't even worry. I don't know if he says specifically beautiful. He might have.
Yeah.
But basically, he's assuring her it's fine. And then later is asking about her weight to the personal trainer.
Yeah.
Some people see that as an infringement and some
How
type of
important is this
inappropriate.
lifting in the air scene? It's not like Dirty Dancing or anything like that, right? Like
Maybe it had that type of significance. Yeah, maybe.
Never read the book. I can't say.
You read the book, Akash?
No, but my wife did. And
By
then-
osmosis.
Yeah.
He read the book.
Yeah, and I think it's like the idea of him is like he's very masculine, protective, made her feel protected probably before everything, and like that's part of the whole like this guy's just like this hot masculine doctor.
He believes it adds to the story that he's a strong, powerful guy, and that's the way that he subverts her in order to abuse her later. So he thinks it's integral to the story that shows that he's dominant over her. He's able to move her around.
Got it.
So
Why'd the trainer snitch, though? It's a bro code, bro.
Not even, yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess it should be, but at the same time, it's like you'll just say anything to curry favor to the people that are paying you.
Gotcha.
in this same meeting, Lively tells Baldoni that if he can't get on board with how she works, she has, quote, 2 weeks to recast her. He knows that it's impossible to recast her at this point. They're already in pre-production. The wardrobe's already getting bought. And he's like, I'll work with however you want to work. You got it. Now, this kind of tips the scales,
And
pun intended, towards the side of her gaining more power over the whole production. And then the wardrobe thing becomes another big issue.
Yeah.
So basically, the first day of principal photography, they capture her wardrobe. Apparently, she's doing like all of her own wardrobe. She's like dressing herself.
They had already spent all this money,
And there's
She
like a
just
whole
don't
issue
give a
with the money. The money thing is crazy. Like they have a budget allocated. It's like $500,000 or something like that. She's spent like $650,000. Again, some people say that's completely normal and that they should return stuff and shrink down the budget later. Other people saying that she's being gratuitous with the spending and is not worried about the budget
cares?
that's getting put
Yeah.
up. But again, this becomes another point of contention
Yeah.
where they're talking to her about the wardrobe stuff. Also, when the pictures leak of the wardrobe, everyone hates it. All the fans of the book are like, this is not what the girl looks like in the book.
She's also wearing like 2 pairs of pants and shit like that. And it's like, who the fuck dresses like this?
So like this is an actual message that they even put in the group chat to discuss her wardrobe. They're like, this is not how she looks. And this is from 2 years ago and all the comments are like, this is atrocious.
That's $600?
Something
That's
crazy.
that's a thrift shop in fucking Williamsburg right there.
Yeah.
So that's adding to everything, right?
But she didn't read the book, so she doesn't know how the character dresses.
Yeah.
So this is now getting backlash. Sony's talking about it. Everyone's like now concerned with the casting and the wardrobe. It's like just causing problems on the set. And then basically right around this time, there's the writer's strike. And so the Writers Guild is basically on strike. And now there's like picketing going on at all the production days. And then on May 29th, right before they stopped filming officially, Wayfair was made aware that Lively had placed calls to Sony to share grievances. So here are a couple grievances. One, Baldoni made a comment about her looking sexy on set in regards to her wardrobe that the character Lily was wearing. Apparently, she was also shown pornography, is how it was sort of described in the press. But then in this complaint to Sony, that she was shown a birth video. And then lastly, she shared that one of the assistant directors wanted to replace her, like get her out of there. So Baldoni has responses to all of these grievances. Do you want to hear those, or this is just where it's at right now? Baldoni says that like the birth video thing was like a non-issue. Like there's a birth scene, and they asked her like, "Hey, do you want to see a picture of one of the other producers' home birth?" And she was like, "Oh, let me finish eating." And he like had it on his phone, but never showed her, and it was completely consensual, and it was not pornography. It was just video of birth. The sexy comment came because Blake Lively was talking about how she wants the character to be sexy. She says it throughout the text. She's like, I want the character to be sexy. I want the character to be sexy.
And then he goes, "You look sexy."
And then in one of the scenes, she's wearing like a onesie with a coat on. And he goes, "Oh, take the coat off because like it'll make the character like more sexy."
Okay.
She interprets that as like, what the fuck is this guy doing? He's like leaving me voicemails. He's like, this is like, he's such a creep. And now he's telling me I should be sexy. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
And then the directors, the ADs that are asking to replace her, the ADs end up getting removed. And Baldoni's like, yeah, they were causing trouble on the set. They wanted to recast Lively. I said, you guys got to go. And so that's where things stand. And then on the 14th, they go on strike. And so production stops. And then it's in this whole time that, again, power starts to shift. And I think it's right around this time that like there's kind of a standoff. No one really knows what's going to happen. They resume shooting in January, and she comes back with a list of non-negotiables. So even more stuff that now she's flagging to everyone, Sony, everyone involved. And the non-negotiables are everything from the stuff we read before, but like they're more egregious. I can go through them one by
Doesn't
one.
matter.
But basically, he's basically saying like, we're not.
I'm not coming back to film unless y'all give me these things.
And so we need an all hands meeting. I need access to the dailies. I need access to script revisions. I need people to not be walking into my trailer while I'm breastfeeding because you guys walked in and you were trying to, see me breastfeeding, which later she says in text, like, I know you weren't trying to like cop a look, but it made me uncomfortable.
I think she actually invited him. She said, "I'm breastfeeding." Come
Yeah.
in.
Exactly.
He released that text.
Yeah.
Precisely. So he releases that to show like it wasn't really a problem, that there was one time where multiple people walked in and then they kind of like turned away and it wasn't really an issue. Again, he said, she said.
What I'm seeing on the internet is a lot of accusations from her and then him delivering, as the internet says, receipts.
Yes.
Right? And I think that, and then Candace organized all this stuff brilliantly.
Yeah.
Shout out Candace Owens, the most feared person on the internet. Once again, Candace, if we mention you on this podcast, we want no problems. We want no problems.
I call her Debo.
Debo, we want no
in your
problems
chain,
with
bro.
Debo.
Candace coming.
Candace is coming. We
Tuck
want
in your
no
chain, bro.
problems. Okay, we think you're doing amazing work with this Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively situation. Okay, maybe this is some great work with what's happening with politics in France. Outside of that, we're not speaking on it, and we want no problems. Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, we got our white Candace right here.
Yes.
And he's gonna go.
Yes, I'm a man.
Jesus is
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, tell us what's going on.
So basically, shooting resumes in January.
Who's the
and
president of France married to, Mark?
not his dad.
Okay, just making sure.
A woman. A woman,
Oh,
right?
Al don't even know how Candace is on that ass.
Bro, I know a
Candace
little
is
bit
on.
about
No,
it.
you
but
don't
yeah.
know how wild it got.
Oh, really?
Candace said that the now not only was Macron's wife a man, is what she's now alleging that Macron's wife is actually Macron's dad.
What?
You know, I believe you.
Some people may.
Hey, we believe you over here, Candace.
Just keep that energy over
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. Talk about
Over
them.
there.
Talk about
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Everything's bad over there. Anyway, go
So
on.
she's got all these demands. They kind of capitulate against the advice of some of the other producers. They're like, yo, stop giving her all this power. And so she's just gaining more and more power. I want addendums to the script, da-da-da-da. And
Give me the drama. Give me the gossip.
Okay,
Give me the
hold-
Perez Hilton.
okay, hold on. I got to pull up one more thing. So this is when
Let the
things
hair down. You might give him a little, get your Baldoni on shit.
on. This is where things go a little wild. January 4th, Baldoni, another one of the executives from Wayfair, a Sony executive, and an A-list producer that was brought in by Lively and Reynolds meet at her apartment. It was January 4th. As the team prepared the production binders on. They have their production binders on hand, and basically Reynolds then starts berating Baldoni, demanding that he apologize to Lively for the actions that either had never occurred or had been grossly mischaracterized. Baldoni resists apologizing for things he had not done, which further enraged Reynolds. Again, this comes from Baldoni's testimony here on his website. Everyone, including the new producer, the Lively, had requested to join the production, and the Sony executives, they quote that they had never seen anything like this happen in their productions, or have never seen an executive or a director spoken to in such a manner during a meeting. Later, the Sony representative shared that they often reflected on the meeting and regretted not intervening to stop Reynolds' tirade against Baldoni. So, as
Now
we see,
Reynolds is involved.
Yeah.
He's talking that shit.
and tensions are rising. So everyone's pissed off. They somehow complete the filming, and then it's basically in the aftermath of the edit that everything just gets fucked. So they're now fighting over the final cut of the film. And they're doing pre-promo where they're like filming all this stuff before the trailer's announced. Baldoni's not involved in any of it. So they hire Reynolds' company to do a lot of the production stuff. So now it's like the whole cast, it's Blake Lively, it's everyone else in the movie, it's the book writer, the author, and Baldoni's not involved in any of it, which is very strange that the director and like the other co-lead is not involved in the film.
Yeah.
So film gets released, and then they're basically like, okay, who's going to do the final edit? Baldoni has his version, but then Blake Lively's gained so much power over the production. She's like, I want to do an edit. And then she slowly creeps in. She's like, I just want to sit with you while you edit it. And then she goes, actually, I want to work on it alone with my own editor. And the producers are like, don't do it. Baldoni capitulates. He's like, okay, fine. You can do your version. I'll do my version. Let's test both of them. And then whichever one gets a higher.
I think that was Sony's solution.
Baldoni's does better. It doesn't matter. They go with Blake's.
Precisely.
And Blake, I think,
won't-
used some like Taylor leverage with a song or something like
So
that.
she's now saying like, oh, we're going to have Taylor in. We're going to have Taylor's song on the thing, but she only wants to be in my edit. And it's like a whole back and forth. Apparently she's adding stuff in from Baldoni's edit, but claiming that it's still her edit. It's like a fucking...
They don't let Baldoni's side see the edit at all.
It's a shit show. So now they do a bunch of press without him. This comes out. The movie's released.
Crushes.
Movie crushes.
They made it for $25 million. They made $350 million.
But people were annoyed before we found out any of this at just like how she was marketing the film, where they're doing like funny ads. They're doing funny ads where like Ryan Reynolds is jealous of her love interest in the movie and like talking about his ass and how nice it is. So it's like if you're doing,
They're treating it like a rom-com.
yeah.
And it's not a rom-com at all.
And it's like it's a domestic violence movie, and Blake Lively's promoting a hair care line and making a big point to wear like florals and talk about the fashion. And Justin Baldoni, it seems, when he talks about the movie, seems to be about abuse, like why do men do this? This is what the point of the movie is, etc.
Yeah. I mean,
and
do you think now he has a better understanding of why men beat women? Like, do you think going through this process, he's just like, I get it, actually. I fucking understand. I didn't understand it before, but now after knowing the Dragon Lady, I see why some
We're
of
doing a
those are,
sequel.
oh,
It's called It Starts With Us.
it starts with you.
So this is one of the press things that happen that sets people off, and they're like, dude, this is a book about domestic violence. This is how you respond.
Jump into this, and Blake, I'm going to start with you. Most of us, if we're lucky enough to run into a celebrity in public, we only have a few moments to maybe speak with you guys. But for people who see this movie, who relate to the topics of this movie on a deeply personal level, they're really going to want to talk to you. This movie is going to affect people, and they're going to want to tell you about their lives. So if someone understands the themes of this movie, comes across you in public, and they want to really talk to you, what's the best way for them to be able to talk to you about this? How would you recommend they go about it?
Like asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share. Or I could just location share you, and then we could I'm just
Social security number.
I'm a Virgo, so I'm like, are we talking logistics? Are we talking emotionally?
So people pointed that to be like, I mean, he asked you a pretty genuine question. How should people talk to you about domestic violence? And then she makes a joke about it, ostensibly, is how people perceive this.
Damn, they calling this the J-Lo era? That's crazy.
But I remember, again, my wife was into this. She liked the book. She was talking about this shit too. She's like, it's weird how it's being promoted. She didn't like the movie. She walked out being like, we don't need to see it again. And my wife will rewatch anything she likes at all.
Oh, wow.
She saw Wicked twice. Wicked came out. I want to watch it a third time. This, she was like, we're good. You don't need to watch it.
Another short excerpt that adds to the fire.
With Us is in theaters now, so grab your friends, wear your florals, and head out to see it.
And people are like, why are you talking about like grabbing your friends and wearing florals, da-da-da? Like, this seems inappropriate. Now, to Blake's defense, she's like, this is supposed to be a movie about triumph, about overcoming domestic violence. I don't want this to be painting women as victims again.
I also think like once you create a narrative, you know, she's got what, 20 years in the business. Like it's so easy to do that with us. We talk 2 hours a fucking week on a podcast. If you want to paint us in one way, you can grab a 30-second clip and make us look bad.
Yeah.
Right. So I think you can do that with her. I don't think they're looking through every interview that she's done to show how seriously she takes film. And
Right.
you know,
I just remember before any Baldoni stuff came out, people were like, what is she doing? Why is she promoting a hair care line?
Yeah.
What's going on? That narrative existed before.
Yeah, yeah. I just feel like once the internet decides that they don't like somebody,
that
they
is
just
true.
search for proof and
is
then
true.
execute. Now, this could be justified. She could have been a huge bitch in this production and try to take it with him and use Reynolds' power and money and thinking that like Baldoni doesn't have that same support, which it seems like he does from Wayfair or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe they thought that they could just take the movie, get the rights, make $300 million on this one, do the prequel or the sequel, whatever it is, make another $600 million on that one. Now they got the next $1 billion Twilight franchise. Yeah. They probably thought they could do it. And maybe she didn't like the guy, so they're like, you know what? Fuck this guy. He's kind of a dick. I don't care if we destroy his character if we can get this $1 billion franchise. That's possible.
And to contribute to it, right around this time, a different journalist released another interview where Blake Lively's shown to be a, quote, mean girl. And this is the one that like went super viral. Again, this is associated with a different film. This is Cafe Society. And this woman releases this sort of unannounced, unprovoked. She just puts it out there. The Blake Lively interview that made me want to quit interviewing forever.
Congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
What about my bump?
Oh, she's trying to save it.
You've got 2 nice ones.
And they are kind of bumps, aren't they?
No, not
Who's
bumps.
the girl? Who's the girl with her?
I don't know her name.
Gone Girl. I forget her name. She's Gone
I don't know,
Girl.
but like I've been that person.
Yeah, where you just try to be like, oh, this is awkward. Let me
Like,
try
yeah,
to do anything.
somebody says something mean and you're like, I just need to cover the dead air. Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
that's what that was.
Yeah, oh, 100%. And so they kind of salvage it. Then in this film specifically, this is not obviously It Ends With Us. She asks about the wardrobe, which is apparently super important to the movie.
Did you guys love wearing those kind of clothes that you...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, working in
Everyone
digital.
wants to talk about the clothes, but I wonder if they would ask the men about the clothes.
Oh God.
I love Jesse's suits
He has some
and
beautiful.
how
That's what I'm saying.
he
His wardrobe was
Oh, I
beautiful.
know.
Corey's
Everybody-
She's not
wardrobe.
looking
I
at the
know.
girl
He's
that's
Those
so
sweating
high-waisted
either,
pants.
Which is
He's
one of
so
those things
great.
I
that
wish men
I'm
wore
sorry,
high-waisted
too.
pants
I
like that
know.
still.
Me
Or
too.
their father with his tank top.
Seems like they had
so
beef
good.
before this shit.
Yeah.
Like something seems off.
They go on to talk
Who
for
had
another
beef?
like 2 or 3 minutes.
Like, did
With the
Blake have
interviewer.
beef with the interviewer?
Yeah.
apparently this is
Not disclosed. It's
I'm saying,
possible.
like, did the interviewer review one of her movies 5 years ago and said she's horrible and she looks like
she's
shit?
been on the list. Now it's like,
Because that's the thing. I think a lot of times, like, you assume that celebrities don't look at what people say about them. They look at all of that
These
shit.
messages will prove that they're looking at everything.
Everything.
They're posting random girls' TikToks. Like, did you see what this girl said?
Yep.
She's saying this about this.
Yeah.
Like some girl with like 1,000 likes
Yeah.
on a TikTok.
Do you remember the first celeb that responded to you on Twitter when Twitter first came out?
yeah.
Who was it?
Pusha T.
Pusha T. Do you remember?
I wasn't on Twitter early. Like I got that late.
Michael K. Williams from The Wire.
Oh, fuck, what's his name on The Wire?
Omar.
Omar. Yeah.
In that moment, because I just tweeted something, I was like, "Oh, we need the Omar, like prequel to The Wire, the Omar years." And then he responded like, "That's a great idea." And then that moment, I was like, "Holy shit! I'm having a conversation with like a thing, but this is insane."
Yeah.
But there's another part of me that's going, "Holy shit! They read everything.
Yeah.
They read everything about themselves." So yeah, she's if we know that they read everything, she's looked at. Oh God, they're probably melting right now.
And then the New York Times drops the article saying that Baldoni orchestrated a smear campaign to, quote, bury Blake Lively. The New York Times article is bad. It doesn't look good for Baldoni at all. And there's pretty crazy lines in here. It says, Baldoni wants to make sure that we can bury Blake Lively. Apparently, Baldoni's PR says, you know that we can bury anyone. And then there's other messages that are in there where, like, they show an article that shows up in the Daily Mail that's slandering Blake Lively's character. And the PR people are talking to each other, Baldoni's people, and they're saying, like, hey, you did a great job with this one. And then they're responding saying, that's why you hired me. I'm the best in the biz. And this is all put into the New York Times article. And everyone's like, oh, they hired a complete PR machine to destroy Blake Lively's career. This looks crazy.
Yeah.
And if he's not guilty, why is he hiring a whole PR team to try to protect his character?
Yeah.
Now, he's come out with all these receipts saying that these texts were completely taken out of context. That, like, for example, with the that one situation where she's saying, wow, you did a great job with this. They're all responding that there is a natural narrative against Blake Lively that's brewing and that they're just monitoring it. And so they're just seeing what the narrative is so that he can put out a press release to assess what the sentiment online is.
Yeah.
And so that's what they're claiming that they're doing. So when they see this article that's slandering Blake Lively, she goes sarcastically, hey, you did a good job with this one. I don't know how we're getting so lucky with this, but you killed it with this one. And she goes, yeah, that's why you hired me. And puts emojis in there that show that it's sarcastic.
So Blake Lively is like Drake.
You could say.
White woman?
No, like there's a successful PR campaign that is waged against him, and she's basically like, it's got to be bots. It's got to be orchestrated. It can't be. There's no way that people really feel this way about me. This has got to be orchestrated by some higher power.
Yeah.
When in reality,
it's probably just organic.
Maybe that's how the people feel. Maybe people given this information are reacting according to how we all would act, right?
Yeah. And so again, if you read the New York Times article, you'll be like, oh, this Baldoni guy's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like there's notes in there where like his PR people are like, this is going to be completely untraceable. The Times alleged that Miss Nathan, Baldoni's PR person, floated proposals to hire contractors to dominate social media through, quote, full social account takedowns by starting threads of theories and generally working to change the narrative. All of this is untraceable.
What women do we believe? Like, which version of Blake do we believe? Because
That's for the
I
court to
believe
decide.
Blake. That's why I'm on Justin's side. I believe that woman when she says, "Yo, come in, it's fine. I'm just pumping. It's totally cool." I believed her when she said that.
Yeah.
I don't believe her after the fact when she's trying to get the rights to the movie.
Yeah.
And sue him.
I believed when she said, I got dragons.
Exactly. I believe
bad.
her
I
when
believe
she's threatening
Yeah.
Justin Baldoni and using the Me Too movement against him. I believe that.
Yeah.
Now, this is all from Baldoni that's being released, so you're believing just his side.
No, I'm believing the text exchange.
Yeah, it's her.
I'm believing what she says.
It's her words.
That's true.
She has not released counter text messages either.
So you're saying we got to stop believing all women? I mean, right
I've been waiting for this day.
Right when we were believing them. Finally.
Oh boy, you were? I was pretending.
Believe some. You can believe some. You know, I think that's a fair position.
Believe the last thing a woman says. I think that's what the movement really needs to become.
Exactly.
Okay, believe the last thing a woman says.
So now Baldoni countersues the New York Times, or rather just sues New York Times for $250 million. Blake Lively now officially sues after that Justin Baldoni for sexual harassment.
Civilly or criminally?
I believe criminally, and it's going to be taken to the New York federal court.
Oh, they don't want that.
Yeah, no, I tell you.
They got to drop this.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to drop this, just lick their wounds, put out a new Deadpool.
Baldoni
and move on.
countersues Blake Lively and Reynolds for $400 million for defamation and libel and assassination of character and all that shit, trying to destroy his reputation. And then they release.
Imagine Ryan Reynolds loses all of his Mint Mobile money because Justin Baldoni couldn't lift up his wife. Imagine they got to sell the house, they got to sell the apartment in Tribeca, and when you're explaining to the 4 kids, it's like, well, yeah, your mom put on a few pounds after the last pregnancy, and this guy has a back injury, he couldn't lift her up, and your mom went fucking batshit crazy.
So
That's what this really comes down to, right?
Yeah.
Now instead of private school in Tribeca, we're public school in fucking Midtown East.
Yeah, oh, dude.
So now people are saying like, oh, this is, they're calling it DARVO. This is what sexual abusers will use. They say deny, attack, reverse victim offender.
Oh, boy.
So this is what Baldoni's doing allegedly, is that he's the aggressor, but now he's flipping it and reversing it using this tactic
It's
called
her
DARVO.
fault.
Is that now he's the victim and that she's the aggressor.
Yeah.
And no one knows what to believe. She says in her criminal complaint, which again, there's a whole bunch of fucking bureaucracy with this, but she says in the criminal complaint that during one of the scenes where they're slow dancing, there's no audio, he's like caressing her, he's like touching her lips, he's trying to kiss her, she feels uncomfortable, she doesn't want it to happen.
Then they drop the clip.
And then they dropped the clip with audio, which no one knew at that time, at least, that there was audio. We can watch some of it. Again, this is another like cultural mirage, where depending on what you believe, this is what you see.
I don't think there's any mirage here, my man.
Hey, you keep giving these hoes too much credit, Mark.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I'm not with this. It's a sexist podcast.
Son, he
Yo,
got
figure
his
it out.
Baldoni bun on, son. He knows what time it is.
She got to be 6 feet tall, bro. There's no way.
Yeah, I don't know, bro.
I gotta see that in the script, man. I don't like all that improv. Like if I'm Ryan Reynolds, I don't think I'm into that.
And so she's suggesting, hey, we should be talking. We should be talking right now. And he's like, oh, I think it's more romantic if we just look at each other. Almost kissing is also good.
And she agrees.
And she says, but we're still talking.
I mean, it's a movie with people falling in love.
Yeah.
If you're Ryan Reynolds, do you not think it's going to happen?
But at this point, I'm pretty sure they hate each other.
Yes.
Oh, that's what the allegations are. They hate each other?
At this point in the filming, I don't know the exact date that this scene happens. I'm going to lower the audio.
Well, she's a good actor.
I mean, I believe it.
Yeah.
All right, so where are we?
They come out with this and say this is proof that no sexual misconduct occurred, that everything's being talked about, multiple people are there. There is no intimacy coordinator, which they say Lively turned down. Lively said, I didn't turn it down. I just didn't need it for this scene because in the script, there's no intimacy.
Fair.
It's just us dancing.
Yeah.
Lively's team says this is absolute proof that this guy was being sexually inappropriate on set, that he was abusing his power as the director and the producer to have a sexual moment with the lead that he's also the co-lead with.
Okay.
And then that's basically where it stands when people are like, hey, what does it mean? He puts out the voice recording at this point where people are like, see, this is more proof.
Okay.
And then there's a trial date that's set.
All right, so now we can have fun with this.
Yeah.
Do we feel up to date?
That was a lot.
That was a lot. It was a lot. Like I can't believe you actually did all that research. I'm gonna be honest.
very impressed.
That was
very
amazing.
impressed.
That was amazing.
Let's cut 80% of
Yeah,
that.
we're gonna cut.
Yeah, we're gonna trim it.
Why did you tell me when I
We're
was
gonna trim a
going?
little
Just
bit.
make Baldoni
No,
look
you did the right thing.
Yeah,
You did the right thing. You
Yeah,
absolutely did the right thing. You were
did
great. You were fantastic.
That was it.
No, yeah, you need another one of these. You need to keep moving. Okay, wow, that was a lot. And